Hey there, beloved Ascension Pioneers, and a happy holiday week for me and Ascension Pioneers. I'm coming today again with another Ascension update, which I was guided to do. It's sort of like an overview with the topics I wish to address today before we head into our holiday season and the new year, because there's some things that really are strongly in my heart at this time, and I'm recording from the living room today. There's some lights in the background again. There's some lights here. I'm wearing my Santa hat. Although this year I just don't feel this holiday season the same as the previous years, because it just feels more just in the moment. It doesn't feel like those beliefs from the old, that we have, that a lot of humanity still has around holidays and expectations that we build up for this season, which actually the moment we let that go, people only suffer because they build up such strong and high expectations about certain things, and that's how it goes. So mostly I would like to talk about this golden season, the color of gold, which is not just what the Christmas is about, the awakening again of the Christ consciousness, but it's actually the re-emergence of the sun, because as you know, after the solstice, after 3 days of pause, the sun begins to move back up, and this is what the Christmas actually represents. Well, this year is kind of like a culmination of what was happening during the last year's solstice. And you will see when I'm going to begin to talk about this, what actually was taking place. So today I was just guided to wear all gold, even my golden pendant and my belly necklace. You can see it from up here, I guess. But it's just all this golden frequency that I'm feeling usually around this time. And this year, it's not just this time of the season. Okay, let's move into, I just made a few notes so that I don't forget anything. But mostly before I start talking about certain themes and topics that are important for us to address before we head into a new energetic year, is mostly something I was reading just recently and it was strong resonance there. I think it was from the Star Child Global, and it spoke about the activation, the integration actually of the golden ray. If you have seen my video last year, which was taking place around last year's solstice, and this is when the golden light began to really strongly make its presence known. I'm so distracted by this light. I don't know if I look at it, it's like, oh, okay. It's almost like hypnotizing. I hope I just, don't just fall asleep at a certain moment of this video, because it's kind of hypnotizing effect there. But I wanted to say that if you will go back there, maybe just see what my video was about last year around solstice. It was about the anchoring of this golden light. And now this golden ray is actually integrating in our planet. So yesterday when I was reading about this, I was really excited because it was very much in alignment with my own guidance. Because this ray is finally integrating on our planet, which means that this light is strongly present for us for physical manifestation. So what was shared there was that maybe some things that we weren't so much capable of manifesting for our purpose back then is something that we can do now. But something I always say, we won't just, in our first year of Ascension, which was this year after last year's solstice, this was our first entry, into Ascension for the souls who are consciously choosing this path, of course. Not everybody's yet experiencing that timeline. But the thing is that this is when we were actually seeing that we won't just attract things, but we are kind of moving into a step in vibration, and our vibration, we will create things. We're really going to become conscious co-creators now, and this is what this year was about. 2013 was all about unveiling and revealing all those things that are kind of like preventing us, well, we are preventing ourselves from being our true master selves. So I'm going to talk about self-mastery, what this means, what this golden ray means, how actually our ascension is being influenced by the ascension of the sun directly in our physical bodies. I'm going to be addressing the how we're moving through this service to the divine, and the level of trust. Trust is still important. It was a key component in this year, and it's going to continue to build up. Then what actually 2014 is in energy. It's not just that it's a 7 universal year, and 7, which is 7 sisters, the Pleiades constellation, the 7 unpointed star, for me is very important. As you can see it, it's right here. Also, the 7 was always a number of magic for me. That's spiritual alchemy, magic. That's why also the 7th ray is the ray of alchemy and magic. So this is the violet. You might know Saint Germain works on that ray of consciousness. So this will be a year to be in our magic, and I'll share this later. There's also some other things I would like to share also about the animals and our merging with all life forms and things like that. So this is when we're gonna head into the things that I want to share today. So the first thing that I would like to mention about this year that we're kind of coming into is a lot of people still make videos about predictions. And they say, predictions for 2014 and what this year will be about. This year won't be about anything unless you make it so. So it's actually what we say, that the energy of 7, and I think it's the year of the white horse in astrology, in Chinese astrology, whatever it is. But all these things, and always for us, even in astrology and alignments, everything that's happening, these are opportunities for us to step further in our self-empowerment and our self-mastery. So if you just read about things, wow, this is prophesized will happen, or this will be a reality, you're already probably noticing that you're, as an Ascension Pioneer, you're living quite a different reality to most people that are sharing your path, or not, but you're just observing. And they have a totally different life, totally different lifestyle, because they're choosing still that. A lot of it has to do with the third dimensional matrix being dissolved, but a lot of people are still clinging on to it because it just feels the only thing they've known up until now. But as this golden ray continues to be integrated, and this is happening now after the solstice in a few days, and 1st January, we will be brand new again. Those of us who are really embodying this and stepping up. So please, first thing we need to know is there could be no predictions, there are only opportunities. And in the new year, we will be more aware of this, and we will be more aware that the number of 7 means you have the alchemy, the magic was always within you, you create, choose what you're creating, and this is the year when you're really going to be able to step up in vibration and create those things in the physical as well. What Spirit showed me, along with that sharing that it was, guided to read yesterday, that we will now be more able to manifest things in the physical as well. And why weren't we before? Because there was still a lot of those programs we needed to dissolve. And whenever we still have something that's not authentic, we're not going to create on that level, right? So it was really important that we first integrate that. That golden energy is connected with our inner Christ. This is our higher self energy. And when we do that, when it's fully integrated, a lot of us have full access with our higher self, because the I am presence, because the higher self is a direct link with the I am presence. So the gold and white always kind of come together, right? So this is the first thing I want to say. The second thing about this golden ray that is now being integrated is, you probably noticed that on the 12/12, when there was a portal opening and then moving on to the solstice, there was like this intense spirit of activation. And you might be feeling very wired and hyper, buzzing. People describe this the closest as buzzing, and very elevated. Sometimes you're getting a lot of information, or in the dream time as well. Now, after the solstice, post the solstice, for me, I was having trouble sleeping before. Now I'm sleeping like a baby, like for 10 hours maybe. It's the body shifted to integration phase now. And this integration is going to actually happen, and it's going to continue to happen those few days until the end of the year. So until January 1st. Then the vibration changes again. We're moving into the new energetic year. Although it's just a calendar at the same level, and from the earthly perspective, it's not, because we made it so. So we created everything on a global scale. And then we're experiencing it, and we're testing with it, what feels good and not. And then, therefore, we're transcending our experiences as well. So this golden ray is going to be over with its integration, and those of us who are really always paving the way as pioneers and as pillars of light, or either you're a gatekeeper, whatever kind of vibration you have, and you've been doing the work, you're really going to start noticing that everything you do now, it's a conscious co-creation with the divine through your own divine presence. And it cannot be if your divine presence isn't integrated within you and your body, if it doesn't truly flow through you, right? It's just how it is. Either way, it's just here. It's just a wishful thinking, and it's a level of imagination. Imagination always serves us in the realm of visualization. It helps us to get connected with our third eye and the visions and the seeing, but that's it. We can't live here in the realms of imagination. We have to make our things physical and tangible in our form. That's what we have a form, that's what we still have a body, and therefore the ascension is happening in the body. If you're new at this, watch my videos and the updates and the explanation of what ascension truly is. So with this, we're moving into self-mastery, and this is kind of propelling us to go forward in a new way. So those of you who've still been using the words, oh, my master, my teacher, my guru, whatever, if you'll be ready now, you'll feel that this was really just not how it is in truth, that maybe that period in your life served you for a certain reason, but now you really want to explore the inner realms of your own self-mastery. What does self-mastery mean anyway? You know, you might see me mention it and talk about it, but say, oh, but what does it really mean? Can you explain it? It means that you perceive yourself as the divine spark of everything, and that all of life and creation flows through you first. So you, as a conscious co-creator with the divine, are responsible for everything that's happening around you, because everything's happening within you, and you observe everything through the eyes of neutrality, complete devotion, complete surrender, and you shift from being that personality fused to source infused, and these are both actually one. It's a merged experience. And you perceive yourself as a devotee to the divine. It matters to you. It's not just like an excuse. Just recently, I've read this writing from one of the pioneers as well on Facebook, and she was writing about how a lot of star-seeded ones, they're using that nature of energy as an excuse. Say, oh, I'm star-seeded, I need to take care of things, and their actions are not aligned. So I've been talking about this myself. If you use it as an excuse, if you don't really walk in that truth, in that spiritual integrity and alignment, it's empty. And this is just a way of causing more separation, because you say, oh, I don't have to do that work. I'm a star seed. It's just natural to me. We all have to do the work. And that's a work of devotion, and it's beautiful. It's not like it's a work of, something like you need to do this. It needs to be with strife and hardship. It's an effort, but it's a pleasant kind of effort. And the more that you shift to self-mastery, the more it's natural to you, and it brings you joy instead of that feeling of obligation or need, like, oh, what does it mean I have to be master of myself? It means, wow, everything that's happening is a level for me to understand better the spirit initiations that are taking place, and it's moving me higher on my ladder of evolution. So this parallel of spirit, it's just like an ongoing spiral. With this self-mastery, there was a message coming to me last week. This weekend. Pardon me, I just forget today's Monday. It goes so fast. So there was a message coming through Buddha, and it was about many things, including the master number 33, which a lot of us have really been anchoring. It's also the number of this Christ-like presence and this consciousness. But at the same time, it was a message about a lot of people that were channeling before moving to a level of not really channeling those beings or entities anymore, but coming into their own presence. I wrote this beautiful article about it, so if you're interested, go there. Most of the things I post now are on Facebook. That's just how I flow nowadays. The thing is that just last week I saw a video. There was just something coming up, and this lady shared her path. She said that the certain council she was channeling is done with her, and they actually shared that they've done their work, the timelines have shifted, she doesn't have to do this work anymore, she needs to do something through her own self now, that they've served the purpose. And I'm just feeling this is a message that kept coming through me, although I was never engaged in channeling myself. I always sourced through my soul and the I Am Presence when I was doing the spirit work, because I serve the Divine Mother. I serve creation, I serve all life and creation. So for me, that felt like natural. But there's a lot of people who in a certain path, it was resonant with them to share channelings. And now, a lot of people are going to be urged and really guided to do, self-mastery is connected to you. You're walking in the lines along with the spiritual masters, with ascended masters. You walk with them. You don't channel beings anymore. You embody that same messages and same teachings and same integration that they are actually talking about. So on a certain level of the journey, that might have come in handy, but now we're really going to be asked for us to step up, to be, we can always say I'm an authentic being, but you continue to channel, and you never trust, well, what does your soul has to share? Can you link to your Christ-like presence? Can you tune into the I Am, to your monadic presence? And there's so much beauty there to be shared. So this is kind of along the lines of what's happening. There's also fear coming up with that, because there's a lot of channeling sites that have huge, massive followers or people reading that material. And when when you're kind of a pioneer, when you shift in vibration so much, when you change in your mental energy and your emotion, everything. So when your whole consciousness actually upgrades to another level, you sometimes can't associate with things that are just not there with you. So it's kind of like the archetype of riding a wave. You know, the wave is always like pointy. So you're riding at the top of that wave. You're going, you know, you're going with that point forward, and there's not a lot of energy with you. There's a wave. You're carrying a wave with you. It's following you, but just right at the beginning, as a pioneer, you're not going to have a lot of those who are shifting with you at that time, because that's what it means to pave the way. Sometimes you're going to feel alone in the consciousness that you possess, that you hold on this level in this body. So a lot of ascension pioneers, what they hold is a level of consciousness that is beyond just fifth dimensional, you know. But the thing is that Earth supports in the physical a certain vibration. So if we want to be in the body at that vibration, it means we will be embodied on that level, although our consciousness might be beyond that. So this is the only difference there is between density and the level of multidimensional experience and consciousness. So what I was saying, I was talking about, yeah, mastery. So there's a certain amount of fear sometimes coming up with individuals who don't want to, you know, give up the old. And that lady was actually sharing pretty good things, something that I shared myself many times, that when the energy doesn't support what you're doing anymore, the money will stop, you know, flowing. There's things going to be shifting around you, just going to be subtle messages first, and then more stronger and stronger. You're going to be pushed into a new path, and your soul wants that. It's not like it's something that's happening outside of you. You're being urged or pushed into something that you don't want, because you do. Your soul knows what's best for you, you know? So with this fear, it means that some people are not going to be willing maybe at the beginning to give that up, because, you know, it sounds very malicious and temptuous. You know, wow, this channel entity, you know, wow, this pastor speaking through, or we trust that, right? As soon as we hear a certain name, right, it sounds better. Oh, Buddha said it. Then, oh, maybe just Oraya said it, me. We still do that as human beings, and it's very silly at the same time. When you have a higher level of understanding things and awareness, it just feels silly to you. It's like, why would you give power over that, and why would you want that more, you know? But it's still, sometimes the human brain still functions that way. You know, kind of like an established brand of candy, for instance. Everybody wants it, but there might be better or more healthier, more organic version of something, and you might not even notice it because not everybody's propagating it. So the thing is to trust here that maybe people would love to hear just your messages channeled through your own soul. It might not seem so tenacious at the beginning. It might not sound so wow. But we're not here to sound wow. We're here to be ourselves, and we're here to pave the way of the truth, the illumined truth of our own self-mastery. This is what Ascension is. The Ascension is all about self-mastery and coming to a new level of understanding. So with this, know that if a certain being or whatever is starting to urge you to be more of the self, to trust sharing your own soul awareness, let that happen naturally. You have all the support. Now this is happening because this is what the Christed level means. It means it's all about you. You're getting the messages straight from your higher self. It doesn't need to have this name of the being or the entity that it's outside of you. They're still there. They're the cheerleaders. They're the guides. That's it. So this is what I'm talking about. The more you're moving into an ascension experience, the more your higher self is empowered through you, within you. And that's all you want to share. That's all you want to be. You want to become you. So this is one thing. Another one is that we actually are going to shift with a lot of people start talking about business. You need to promote yourself, you know, for people to see you or whatever. It's nothing wrong with that. But the moment you shift in the higher realms, when you enter the realms of illuminate truth, you feel that all you wish to do is be of divine service. You don't need to promote yourself, because everybody needs to find you if this is what it's helping them on their path. That's it. And, you know, this belief that it needs to be promoted, that it needs to be so much hard work and effort, it's going to be replaced with the need to do less to establish more. This is the simple, basic mentality of the new, and we're going to anchor more and more of that in the next year. The year 2014 is actually the year of opportunity to share all that we've gained in this year. Before too, of course, but in 2013 we culminated in that. We sort of, you know, everything, all the experiences for people who had maybe a lot of lifetime experiences here, and they're kind of culminating in that and becoming brand new. So out of all these experiences, this new aspect is birthed. So this is what it's about. And what we've been learning and integrating this year, we're going to start to use and apply more in the next year. So like I said, it's going to be about soul magic and alchemy. There's going to be a lot of creativity coming through. And this is what's going to be needed, because a lot of people, like I said, they still use a lot of time to just write, to just share, or there's pages who just share post after post. And this is not very creative. We're going to be asked to just be authentic, to create something. Even if it's just a piece of jewelry, it doesn't matter. It gets your light codes to flow through you. So dealing with this fear of change, like for example, what I've been just sharing, wow, who will still follow us? Who will still follow me if I do it this way? I've noticed recently that I've gone through a smaller number of people on my Facebook page, not just because Facebook does that, it promotes your post if you keep posting more, but I'm like, Facebook, you're not going to get me. This is fear action, You're not going to get me. You're just Facebook. So I had to talk with Facebook. And I said, you're not going to, with these numbers, either your numbers increase or they decrease, depending how you post and how many people actually, it's not how much hard work and effort you actually put into it. Everything I do is authentic. My pictures, everything. I do that because I want my light codes to come through. I don't want to share some random pictures from the internet on my personal page called Ascension Pioneers, because it's not my work. And I like to share pictures and images of me and nature, because that's what I am. I'm a being of nature, and it's our playground. It's all there is. And why would we share only digital images if nature has all? It has all the wisdom, all of it's the most beautiful part of creation. So this is just me, but I want to say that this fear can start, like blah blah blah, this thing. So we need to have a talk with it, and you need to say, what, it doesn't matter how many numbers. It's not about the numbers. It's about the quality. It's about what I share. It's about how authentic it is and how I feel when I do it. If it brings you joy, perfect. If you're doing it for the numbers, then it's just not authentic anyway. So this is, like I already gave you the analogy of the wave. Everybody who's doing something as a frontier, on the lines of renewal, something pivotal, pioneering energy there. Everybody's going to have a hard time at the beginning, because, things are not just going to come. People just won't come, and notice things right away. You build up to it. It's like the wave, the great master wave continues to build up until it becomes this grand wave. So this is the whole thing, the peak. Sometimes at the peak, we will feel isolation. Like, it's just me. Is there anybody else around me? And then eventually they will start coming around. It's like the awakening, First there was the first wave, and the second, and the third, and it keeps coming and coming. Breathe now, because there might be a lot of people next year who will be awakening and wanting our assistance. And everybody can help on their own level, because everybody has their own virtues and their own gifts and talents, We're all multicolored, and, it's a multi-spectrum here. But sometimes be careful what you wish for, because, I want more, then boom, the wave hits you. So just be in that neutrality, don't push it, don't force anything. This is what's really important now. This is what next year will be about. The feeling of isolation is really of the old, because if you're born with pioneering energy, you're always going to be at the peak. Because then a new wave comes, and you're going to ride a new one, and you're going to push it, forward. People following, souls who are, into that experience as well, will follow with you. And it's a co-creation. It's not a matter of who gets there first, because there is no destination. Otherwise, this journey wouldn't be eternal and infinite. It's just how it is, with energy that's coming through. So, yeah. We actually create everything. So, for example, this is what I've been writing here. If somebody, this is also very important, somebody has followers instead of disciples, which means people who just see your wisdom in order to remember their own and to integrate their own memories through their own remembrance of the divine. People who are creating that and these mass following, and it's kind of a cultish vibration to it, because it's not just other people, people say, well, it's other people's, choosing and creation. If they say, wow, I'm following this, and they become really dogmatic with it, because it's just another dogma. But it's not just those people, because what we put out, we create. If you don't feed somebody that bone, they have nothing to be fed with. So if you see somebody sharing things in that way, they have this mass kind of cultish vibration to it, and they just keep saying things how they're supposed to be. This is the truth, period. And they're just giving people answers, and there's the kind of vibration to it. And people are sort of acting occultish with that. Just ask yourself, but they're also creating it that way. Otherwise, it wouldn't be that way. You know, I don't consider myself having followers because I don't want any. I want you to follow yourself. I want you to step into your self-mastery. I just want us to share in this path. I mean, I don't even want it. I just put it out there for those who want to share and for those who are guided to walk in self-mastery together, because human beings were not meant to go alone in this ascension journey. But we're also not meant to kind of be leaders. We're meant to, it's not just up to me. I'm not the chosen one, neither are you. We're all the chosen one, but we choose it through ourselves. This is what we're devoted to. We need to be devoted to our own master self, always in the first place. So this is, we have that mass following and that kind of vibration. It's just, you kind of sometimes feel weird about it. Know that if something feels weird, it's just there for a reason. And this just leads to culminating of strong beliefs, and this is a cult. We always say a cult when there's like a really strong, associated with a strong belief, which prevents you from moving forward through neutrality of divine love. It keeps you stuck there. So you kind of start worshiping something, and you kind of start putting your power to something else. And this is 2014, I feel it's going to be the year when a lot of those things are going to come up to light. And it starts with us. If you're still going to be hiding something to yourself, you're probably not going to be fooling yourself for long there, okay? So now I'm going to move a bit back, because I want to talk about this shift that's happening. Just recently, I've noticed that some people share that there's like massive solar flares now. And some people talk about even the pole shifting until, I've heard end of February. I don't know. I don't really see it. Sometimes I just notice something like, oh, really? Okay. The thing is, all the changes I'm noticing are in nature. I don't go with the mind. I don't follow anything. Sometimes things come to me, information, to think about it, to ponder about it. But I never make assumptions. But today I went outside. It was such a warm day. All the snow, like the tiny bit of snow we had, melted. And it's just before Christmas. And I'm living in the mountains, And it was really funny when I was sitting during my run on the sunshine, just meditating, being there, feeling the energy of the nature, talking with creation, feeling all creation. Just, there's not going to be really cold winter, right? Isn't it? So this is kind of connected with all these changes, because when I was feeling the sun, it was so hot at the end of December in the mountains. Can you imagine? I was putting all my clothes off. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's really hot. I mean, not just the warm temperature, because we have those climaxing points and, just things shifting so fast in weather patterns, but literally the sun was so hot. So I felt that, because a lot of people were predicting that the weather is going to change drastically in the coming years. But it's not about that, it's something that we wish to do. So we wish to create, to have kind of like this blend with nature that is more not just appropriate for us, but for the whole creation to benefit. There's another topic on this I wish to share later, but it's something that we need to learn, that if something is that way, nature needs to be. Last year there was so much snow, so much ice, because nature needed to cleanse. This year it feels different again. So we need to understand whatever nature is going through. Us little humans, like, oh, why is it this way? Always complaining. We never wanted right. And we need to really feel nature and the seasons and all the shifts as divine perfection, because that's all there is. We live in a universe of divine order. That's the only thing. So this is also associated with that level of trust, which I mentioned before. This is something we need to know. But there's definitely shifts. So I think I read about minimum 17 solar flares recently, and each gateway is always accompanied by strong solar flare activity. This year's solstice was no exception. It was an experience. We sure had one, because we created like this portal of in the sky. It was foggy, but there was sunshine coming through, because we did a prayer and invocation. We called in the sacred wildfire and Mahatma energy. It was really beautiful. So the thing is that it's really important to understand our connection with everything, which brings me to this topic of solar flare activity. Spirit has shared with me something recently, because this divine companion said whenever these shifts happen and we have body symptoms, they get gastrointestinal problems. And I was thinking, wait a minute, you know, a lot of people have that, me included sometimes, you know. And I was just replying to her automatically, because all my guidance, when it's instant, not the mind, you know, when it has time to plug in and think, but just instant knowing. So Spirit shared with me that this is actually happening because everything is in creation is based on starlight. So suns are stars. They bring light. So as our physical sun is bringing light to us and warmth and all that we need for life, you know, the nourishment and for all things to grow and be as they are, and for the life to be a certain way here, you know, for humans to look a certain way even. Everything is directly influenced by the sun. The sun is influenced by the sun behind the sun, the central sun, and then there's also the grand central sun, the sun of all suns. And all life and all light comes from there first. So when the sun, our physical sun, begins to sprout up, you know, sends out those ripples, starts to flare up, that's when our stomachs begin symptoms to flare up. And there's a lot of people having those digestive issues. Why is that? Because we ourselves are built through creation principles the same way. So just as there's a physical sun in our solar system, also, you know, the solar system is based on the principle of 12, and we're based on the principle of 12. You know, there's our 12 chakras are now activating. And therefore, our belly area, our solar plexus, is the area of our inner sun, and this is connected with our personal power. And when this is happening, when the star is flaring up and sending us ascension vibes, therefore, we feel that in the body, and the old body, internal body matrices are being dissolved. So these old beliefs and programs that we have about being powerful through personality, or, you know, false, how do you say, when you have boundaries, but they're not really boundaries from love. They're like egoic boundaries and things like that. So all the beliefs, everything is being dissolved here. And the new matrix is now being integrated. This is the power through self-mastery. This is the power of our inner solar sun. You know, we have this inner sun, and you can see that in my necklace. And this is actually the process. And this is why this is happening. And a lot of people were feeling that once I described it, and they said, you know, they're really grateful for the explanation, because it makes a whole lot of sense, because nothing is coincidental. Sometimes you might think, oh, it's because of the food I ate. Well, maybe the food impacted it because it was just going through an alignment, and you've been eating something, maybe especially if it was something not that light, and it influenced the process. It was just, you know, you overly indulged it with energy when it was already in its own, you know, process. So this is what's happening with this. Again, I want to move back to when I was saying about that trust and nature and creation all being as it is, including this. One aspect here is when I'm noticing that a lot of people, when they share about our feeding system, how it's changing, a lot of people talk about it in terms of, you know, eat what's good for you. Ask your body what's good for you. It's always about what's good for us. But remember, that's just one aspect. We're one with all life in creation. So until we don't go deeper and we ask ourselves, okay, but what is also good for the animals? Because recently I heard someone say, you know, they don't really care whether there's eat as long as, you know, their bodies want it, blah, blah, blah. But I've seen that that's not a deep enough approach, because all that we put in our bodies, of course, should be sacred and valued. And we should not just put every kind of junk, because we start treating our bodies as holy, as sacred. But the main thing is also, you know, not just for you. And people say, oh, I believe you can cleanse anything, you can purify everything. But what is good for that animal? You know, if you're still digesting animal, whatever kind of way, anything of it. I don't want to go too deep into that, but this is something that I feel in the next year people will need to begin to get to, that golden ray being integrated through our Christ itself. The Christ itself is the level of you being compassionate to all life. So until you have that, you're not really physically existing on that level. So if you say, all that I'm eating, you know, that new age approach, I keep noticing, it's all about the raw food journey. It's all about the in a way that it's not really beneficial to all life. For you, you know, it's again, it's kind of egoic, I feel, because if we keep just focusing on ourselves, it's not just us. True ascension begins with you practicing your self-mastery, evolving into your self-mastery, but at the same time, you're one with all life. So you don't just say, I feel this is good for me now, but then you don't ask yourself, but is it good on the other end, because you're connected with that animal or everything. So this is so important right now. We need to start digesting things, not just for what is good for us personally, but what is good for us in oneness of all life and creation. I have a very good relationship with animals, and it keeps evolving because there's a few animals here in my local surroundings that just, when I go on my run or on my walk, I pet them and they really love me. They're just like, oh. And just yesterday I pet this beautiful, kind of like white blackish horse. I don't really know whether it was she or he. The horse was just standing there and was eating the grass. And I'm like, hello. He came to me. And I just put my hand like that, in its face. And we had that conversation a bit. I said, wow, you're almost going to be all white, Ascension. And just listen to me. I felt like he's feeling me because he was like not moving. He was just looking at me. And I was, petting him and everything. Just really beautiful. And once you get to that level of connection, you won't just think about what you eat that's good for you. What about all life surrounding you? So I feel next year it's time to wake up to that. Call to self-mastery and oneness at the same time. This is what it is. There is no Christed life without compassion. Compassion for all life in all forms. So if we say, I don't care as long as it's good for me, I'm doing it to be ascended. Well, but are other life forms ascending with you? Would you like to be the only person ascend, and then you look around and there's no other life forms around you? How would you feel? That's a really important thing to think about. A lot of people still do this, and they don't want to talk about things like that. They don't want to think about them. This is all they can see, and including the New Age Ascension community. This is something really essential for us to look into, and it's kind of like a big boo-boo. Because I remember there's this person who wrote this book. My mom told me about that person. It's a woman. I don't know where she's from and her name, but she wrote this book, Why Do We Love Some Animals So Much and Eat Other Animals? It's like this dualistic approach, and she wrote this whole complexity of human emotion and of human thinking and all that. But I feel true oneness within our Christed light doesn't begin before we truly are compassionate to all life. And when we start asking ourselves, not just what is good for me, for my ascension, but what is good for the benefit of all, because all life who chooses so is ascending to this new level of existence. Okay, so I really needed to cover that up. If it's uncomfortable for you, if it feels, that means there's something there to explore. If it feels like, oh yeah, of course, naturally, then you're already there. Then you know what I'm talking about. There's no judgment. There's different levels of experience, and not everybody yet can hold that mental capacity to understand these things. So that's what I wanted to share about this, and about the animals. Since I'm already there, we're kind of moving into this really deep telepathic communication, not just with us as human beings, but animals as well. And animals are just sharing these messages with us and what they want, how they want to be treated. And those of us who are really in that Christed light, we feel them. You might walk around a certain dog like I do, who's always in chain, but he's so nice. He just gets you that message. I don't want to be in chain. Why are they doing this to me? They talk to you. And of course, it's up for us to be in our neutrality zone. We understand the experience. That it's not right. We need to speak about it. You need to have that compassion, but at the same time, don't go into lower emotional states, because it's not going to solve anything. You need to do, those animals are there to show us where we still hide, where we're still hiding, where we're still, lurking in our own darkness instead of understanding. So all these animals who are, as appears to be victims to such behaviors or, being slaughtered and everything, all of these animals are our messengers. They're giving us a message of something really important here. So I feel next year it's really time to hear that on a deeper level. Really cleanse your ears, but mostly the heart. So this is something I wanted to share today about the holiday season. Although it's usually a time of joy, and it always is that way, and I encourage you to, nothing can ever come between you and your source. So this is your source of happiness. But also, it's kind of like this introverted holiday season because the solstice was in such alignment. Dad spoke of that hermit energy and just doing the introspection. And I did a spirit reading for this holiday week on Facebook. I did it today. I posted it today. Today is the 23rd. And please just go if you're interested. It's a really long reading, including personal 2 choices for you to choose from to have a more personalized reading. And if you want additional, assistance, you can always reach out for my personal spirit messages and guidance as well. During these holidays, I will be a bit, introverted as well. Gonna, not always can be out there so much. So I'm gonna take some moments to just be, to be with myself, to enjoy myself too, to spread some holiday cheer. And I will do some things that I still promised, but like the relationship article, which is really a huge pivotal thing now, and some other things, but that's it. The main thing is to shift from these expectations and burdens and what needs to be to what is. Because there's a lot of, in these messages that are coming from these New Age communities, there's a lot of messages who keep postponing ascension to some indefinite moment, like, the moment you've all been waiting for, it's there. You won't be waiting for long. And everybody's like, okay, hoping, waiting. And nobody's actually taking responsibility. Nobody of those, who keep waiting. I mean, when you're a true pioneer and understand that you are the one who needs to do the change, you're the change bringer. That's who you are, bringer of the dawn. So a lot of those messages have that false sense of hope for some indefinite moment in time that just keeps being prolonged and prolonged. And just recently, I think I've seen when I was doing my jewelry, I was listening to some recordings, and it was from Gangaji. And she was sharing about this. And she said, but what if this is all you have? What if there's no promise for the future, no hopes, no angelics, no nothing? She said, not that it's not there. But what if you just eliminate all of those hopes, all those projections to be somewhere? Even life after death, everything. And what if this is all there is? Is it enough? What brings you? Is it joyful? Is it what you want it to be? This is so important, and that inner time structure, not that, this needs to be done or published or edited or whatever needs to be established by this and that time. It's really going to keep dissolving, because think of how you feel when this happens. How do you feel? It feels like the belly starts to contract, right? Because you're not in your center of master power. You're in the center of personality power, so control. I need to do. So whenever we say need, we're actually denying our self-mastery. And the human part says, I'm going to take over. We need to do the merge, the conscious merge. The human aspect is actually the one that needs to enjoy all that the master brings and works through that beauty of creation, through divine neutrality, surrendering onto the now moment, to inner time, not false external time and all these dogmas. So when the master provides, the human enjoys. This is what I feel the new year should be about. It should be about that understanding that it's not that the human creates and the master is like, what, but it's the master creates and then the human aspect enjoys. And enjoys to have these earthly livings and materialization of things that are not for personal gain, but for the greater good. So think about it, how you feed yourself. Again, not personal gain. You're supporting your ascension. Okay, what about, are you supporting this animal's ascension too? You see, I'm talking about we need to move beyond, because that's what the Christed level is about. It's moving beyond just the personal. So when you move into that universal love, agape love, neutrality love, non-attached love, love for the freedom of all sentient life forms, your love will shift, and it'll no longer be just what's good for you, but what's good for the grander scheme of things of all. And you, by becoming that, you'll help all life forms to evolve. So moving from that focus-oriented spirituality to experiential spirituality, living in inner time, plus understanding that once you really are integrated in that golden master Christ ray, you don't always have to do so much, because your light, when your kundalini, when your life force is activated to its fullest expression and potential, you're already influencing, you're already uplifting all the other life forms as well, But we need to embrace the shadow aspect still. So this year, when it's ending, in this final few days, that's why I was so urged to make this video, because we're just being called to make that introspection of what was, of what we wanted to be here in the now, how we wish to feel in the now. That's all that's important. And what if that was all there is? And then that will directly influence our future without that focus goal oriented, and longing for something except for what already is now. And this is something so important. So also, I wish to share that, I'm still in the process of making that vibrational blog, and because it's just so many things I wish to do, and I just don't limit myself. I know it's going to be there, even if it's just there for the 1st of January, because that's when new beginnings begin, right? It's new energy, and it doesn't really matter. I just know that I'm in the process of it, and I know that whatever you're doing right now, you're also, you're in the process of it, your inner time. But now I feel it's so much more important to focus on this integration taking place. The body needs lots more attention now when it's in the phases and stages of sharing this. Also, the energies are this way. Venus retrograded in Capricorn until February, which is going to be, how your values, are structured, what you want. Maybe something changed because you just don't resonate with things anymore because you've shifted in awareness. So that's good. Reevaluation time. And because there's so much focus on relationships, because relationships are actually what we're going to practice this making things real in the next year and beyond. That's where there's so much focus on it. Also, like I said already, with Mars moving in Libra, and it's going to be all the way until late summer. And this is what we're going to be mastering, because we master ourselves most through relationships, and that's what it is. So I think that's what I wanted to share. Oh, one more last thing before I forget. If you were one of those individuals who ever had a session with me, or maybe you're going to order it until the end of the year, until the 31st of January. No, December. I'm already there. Sorry, guys. So if you're going to do that, if you were one of my clients, which I call Divine Companions, then you will have an opportunity to be selected. But you need to send me an email first that you're interested, of course, because I don't remember all the people who just don't have the time to go through everybody. You need to send me an email that you're interested. I'm going to put you in the draw on the 31st of December, not January. I will pick randomly, through a draw, someone, and that someone will get a free bonus session with me. So you still have your time if you want to have that free one, which you can also, like I shared, you can pay forward to somebody else who maybe you think they need it most or more. So this is something that we all practice, that selfless service, giving, but at the same time receiving, because when we give or receive, I always experience that in my life. And because I posted about this on Facebook, and I know not everybody's always there or following. So if you're, just discovering that through this video, then please write to me. The email is, as always, you can find all the information about me and all my personal services, everything I do on this YouTube information section, my introduction page or my webpage or my blog or anything. It's time to go now. I'm wishing you all such a beautiful holiday season. May you be in peace. May you connect to the Christ light within you and share it with everybody for the greater good of all that is. And may we expand together.